Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the class Buddhism 408, Buddhist Philosophy. Hope everybody is doing great. And today is the last day of the class. You know, last day is the final exam. So you will get the exam in email, and please write your answers. And then email your answers back to me, and I will grade accordingly. So today what we would do is, as usual, we will look at what we did in our class. 10 weeks time. We covered a lot of area. And let's see, in the very first session, we were looking at the historical and philosophical background when the Buddha was alive, or when Buddhist philosophy started. What was the existing tradition, existing condition, philosophical condition in India? And we saw that there were the most dominant philosophy at that time, dominant or prominent philosophy at that time was the Brahmanism. Brahmanism is the tradition, philosophical thinking that the God, all-powerful, mighty being, created this world according to his whims and fancies, and then that was a caste system, right? 4 castes, and accordingly their philosophy framed in such terms. There's a big hierarchy in the society. No one can have the, what you may call, the social mobility. It was not, there was no any social mobility. If you are born as a untouchable or very unprivileged, into a very unprivileged caste, no way out. You have to be in that caste forever. Your dependents, your family members, everybody, they have to be on the same caste. No movement from that caste to another caste. That's why it's called social mobility, no social mobility. So that was kind of a very primitive sort of thinking. And then there were some other philosophies like Jainism. Jainism especially believed in the efficacy of the past karma, whatever things that you have done in your past. So your destiny will be according to your past karma. That was one of the other philosophies at that time. And into this type of setting, the Buddhist philosophy arose in this type of setting. So at the beginning, actually, Buddhism went against these traditions, actually. One is there's no way that there is no social mobility. Buddha criticized it, that everybody comes into existence in this world in the same manner. We human beings are the same. So there is no such a thing called caste, class, or any other divisions among human beings. So Buddhist philosophy starts with that kind of thinking. Humanism, equal status for all beings. And then women were also given the same status as men. because in the previous system, women were sort of segregated or discriminated, and they were not given the equal status, right? So we saw all these things. And as Buddhist philosophy came into existence, the main thing that Buddhist philosophy emphasizes is that theory of knowledge. How do we perceive knowledge, right? We were discussing that thing. Knowledge is based on experience. Experience is the most valid way of receiving knowledge. Don't believe something that somebody told. The person who was telling that thing was a superior person in the society, or a god or some higher power gave this teaching. So then we have to believe it. Don't do like that. You have to, the truth can only be valuable only if it is experienced. See how advanced the Buddhist philosophy was at the beginning. Experience is the most valid way of perceiving knowledge. And we use a word, epistemology, remember? Theory of knowledge. Because in philosophy, that's one of the biggest area. One of the biggest areas in philosophy is epistemology. Epistemology is theory of knowledge. How do we get knowledge? What are the parameters? What are the limitations of our human knowledge? Those are the things that we were discussing in that chapter, in that lesson. And then another turning point in Buddhist philosophy is the theory of causality. We were talking about it, causality, the cause and effect, theory of causality or cause and effect. So Buddhism focuses on the idea that nothing comes into being without its own cause. Based on certain causes only, things come into existence. And then when the necessary conditions are not together, things disappear, things hide, or things stop manifestation, things like that. So based on cause, there's effect. If this is, that is. Remember we were discussing that thing? If this is, that comes to be. When you stop this thing, the other thing also stops. So that way. So causal connection is one of the very important teachings of Buddhism. If you are going to find out the cause of your suffering, that's the big issue that Buddhist philosophy is focusing on, human suffering. So if you really want to understand how human suffering arises, you have to go back to see the causes of your suffering. That's how causality plays a very important role in Buddhist philosophy. So not just for human suffering, for anything in this world, any phenomenon, any event in this world, we can trace back to the causes. We have to dig the causes of that incident or that event occurrence, and then it's easily we can understand the reason behind the incident or occurrence or event, whatever. In that way, Buddhism emphasizes the importance of looking for the cause, and then based on the cause, the effects are visible, right? That type of philosophy. And then we were talking about the three characteristics of existence. Remember, impermanence, suffering, and insubstantiality, no self. This is one of the important teachings in Buddhism. So everything is discussed according to these three characteristics. These three characteristics are visible in anything in this world. Things come into existence, they last for some time, and change happens, and then they disappear. There is no something called Atma or soul or self. Insubstantial. Everything is insubstantial, you know. There's no substance. That's why it's called insubstantial. So that type of teaching in Buddhism. When you analyze the human condition, this is very important. There is no superpower or soul that never changes and experiences suffering and happiness and things like that. Everything happens the way it is. The way it is means these three characteristics of existence: impermanence, suffering, and then because of impermanence and suffering, there is no substance to be taken as eternal or self or soul. Okay, we were looking at those teachings, and then another philosophical idea comes in Buddhist philosophy is karma and rebirth. Remember, intention itself is the action, karma, and that intention gives rise to your next birth even. The last moment of this life, the intention, your thought, it plays a vital role in framing your next life. So Buddhism believes in rebirth, okay? Not in reincarnation. When you say reincarnation, that means you will be going out of this body and then you reappear in another body. That's not the Buddhist idea. It could be you will be, your mind will be released from this body, and it might become another body, or it might appear in another body in different manner. See, that's not the same. It changes over the time. So that type of teaching, karma and rebirth. And based on karma and rebirth, there are, in Buddhist philosophy, we discuss about morality, ethics, and such things. Morals and ethical behavior is why? Because we are supposed to behave ethically, moralistically. Morals are very important because the karma and rebirth are very important phenomenon in our life. And then we were talking about the nirvana, the highest goal of Buddhism. In order to reach that highest goal, you have to get rid of all sufferings, and then and there you will be in nirvana. Nirvana is not something that you achieve, you attain in your next life. No, it is right here, right now. If you stop your suffering, you are at nirvana right there. That kind of philosophy. And then after the passing of the Buddha, of course, we saw some new interpretations and efforts to preserve the Buddha's teaching in an effort to preserve the Buddha's teachings. The authorized monks, they designed a certain pattern, and it turned into like scholastic effort. So that's why we looked at scholasticism, the way the earliest monks organized things systematically, it became scholastic. And as opposed to that scholasticism, that development, that trend, there came along the Mahayana, or the greater vehicle, that tradition, that trend, criticizing the Theravada, or the way of the elders. Those were the last things that we were discussing in the class. So you should be remembering them, because not too long ago. These are the basic things that we covered in this class. Mahayana philosophy also. So I hope in this class you enhanced your understanding about Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, of course, to a certain extent. And then now you are ready to face the final examination. This final examination is not actually to test your grasping of this thing. My intention is to actually make you aware of these things. It's also education. Final exam is also kind of education. If you do it right, then you will get the good marks and all that. That is a different, that's the second thing. First thing is to educate yourself on these things that we were discussing in the class. So hope you will do your best at the exam. If you have any questions, please let me know so that I can help you. But remember, within the next week, from now, today on, you will receive your exam today. So you have 1 week, one whole week to answer these questions and submit it back to me in a Word document, okay, as a Word document with your name clearly written, okay? And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining this class and being there for 10 weeks, a long time together, working hard and doing all kinds of things, right? I hope you enjoyed the class. See you again in another class. Good luck with your final exam, and good luck with all your other studies. Thank you so much.